And welcome to CryptoCannaVerse, a globally inclusive podcast that serves a hub for visionary entrepreneurs operating at the intersection of four key domains: price, crypto, cannabis, and CPAs. We connect founders with investors, advisors, and partnerships. All faiths are welcome here at the CryptoCannaVerse show. The show is hosted by Crystal Wampler and Alan Lau, and our guest co-host is CPA Zach Gordon. Zach serves as VP of Accounting for a portfolio of Propeller clients and has raised over $100 million for startups. Welcome, Zach.
I was the guilty one of hitting the mute this time, but thank you so much.
You're welcome, Zach. Could you go ahead and just take a couple of minutes and tell everybody like who you are and what you do and your background?
Absolutely. No, of course. So I've been a CPA for about 16 years. I'm based out of New York, but have worked across multiple states and at the global level as well. I've been a CPA, of course. I'm a former tech co-founder. I've worked in private equity, and I serve as a fractional CFO to a portfolio of companies, as wonderfully alluded to, in the crypto space, cannabis, as well as in tech and a couple of other interesting areas. Certainly have raised a couple of dollars along the way and helped with the fundraising process, as well as making sure that the right structures put together, the right pieces are in the right place, and that we have actual usable financial statements.
Nice. Thank you. And again, welcome. Our show is booked through April 24, but if you would like to be a guest speaker, please reach out to crystal@canethics.com. I am not advising anyone to invest in any deals that are presented on this show. Please do your own due diligence and seek qualified professional investor advice. Today's show is being live broadcast across Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, with a total following and reach of 10,000. Our strategic network includes venture capital firms, family offices, blockchain and crypto hedge funds, business owners, Web3 launchpads, CPAs, attorneys serving high net worth clientele, investors, and angel investors. We're going to go ahead and skip through the Bible verse today. We're going to do that at the end. Alan is at a movie premiere at the moment, so he's going to be coming in a little late. So we're going to start with introducing our guest speaker today, Mr. Len May. Len, welcome.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Wonderful. The CryptoCannaVerse shows presents speaker Len May, CEO and co-founder of EndoCanna Health today, Friday, October 27th, 2023. Len May is the CEO and co-founder of EndoCanna Health, Inc., a pioneering company that uses DNA testing to determine an individual's suitability for cannabis treatment and precision therapeutics. With over 25 years of experience in cannabis and genomics, May has honed his knowledge for real-world application. May has contributed to published peer-reviewed journal articles and clinical trials that have advanced understanding of the endocannabinoid system and how DNA and genetic expression impact personalized health and wellness. He is a certified medical cannabis specialist with experience in genomics, epigenetics, phytocannabinoids, terpenes, and their interaction with the endocannabinoid system. May earned a master's of medical cannabis from the Institute for the Advanced of Integrative Medicine and is sought after public speaker. He has presented on these topics at prestigious events worldwide and is the author of Making Cannabis Personal and the host of the popular Everything is Personal podcast. Welcome. How's it going?
Thank you, Crystal. I think I just learned something. A very short bio is probably better. I'm trying to keep people awake. But thank you. It's very comprehensive and I appreciate it. So I wanted to see if I would have the opportunity to sort of share my screen and maybe talk a little bit about what we do. I've been a participant in these, and I think people do a really good job describing. I'm a very visual person, so I think just lifting up the hood and showing people exactly what we do today is really my goal. And then also the second part of that is to be able to show people where we're going tomorrow and what we actually need in order to achieve that. And I was very diligent in listening to what Bill Decker was saying last week about, who's your customer, what is their problem, and what is your solution, all that stuff. So I'm going to try to keep it as concise as possible. And if I'm off, Bill, please, smack me around a little bit so I can get back on track. I appreciate it. So let me just share my
serious. So
good. We need that.
all right, here you go.
All right, you just have to enable sharing for me.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, I do need to make you co-host, which is not a big deal.
Okay. I'll let
Here
people
we
in.
go.
Don't worry.
Well, they're late, so no. If it wasn't
Okay.
Alan, it would be different, but thank you.
Excellent. So, oops. I'm assuming people can see my screen. Thumbs up, yes. So I'm going to start. This is our website. I'm not going to go too deep into it. Just to give you some background, you already heard the very long bio, but I've been in the cannabis space for, let's say, over 25 years, not counting as a patient. I was an activist. I was the president of the Cannabis Action Network. I held the very first rally. I live in LA, but I'm from Philly. I held the very first rally at Independence Hall in Philadelphia in 1993 with my keynote speaker named Elvie Musica, who's one of the first people to get cannabis prescribed under the NIDA program in the federal government. She had those joints that you have with the USDA label. This is 1993. She lit up and smoked this joint in front of federal rangers. And I was like, yes, the future is around the corner. And this was 1993 in Pennsylvania, just legalized only a few years ago. So it's a long process. But in my cannabis space, I actually shifted over to corporate for a little while because that was, cannabis wasn't legal. So I worked for Price Waterhouse, PwC. After a little while, I did a stint at a venture capital company called Safeguard Scientific, and I moved into being a commercial real estate broker. So I was the managing director of Keller Williams Commercial, or KW Commercial at that time. Led me to move to Los Angeles about 16 years ago. And through real estate connections, I got involved in the dispensary space. So I was an owner and operator, a partner in 5 dispensaries, flying the same flag called Kush Kingdom. My passion has always been the therapeutic properties of the plant. And one of the things I started noticing is 2 people consuming the same chemical variety and have a completely different experience. So I started researching. Long story, just a little bit longer. I saw a video by a gentleman named Kevin McKernan, who's the chief science officer of a company called Medicinal Genomics. Ended up consulting with them, really getting to plant genomics, traveling around the country, getting plant material from different cultivators, bringing it to my lab, extracting the DNA, sequencing that, and starting what's called Cannapedia, which is a library of different cultivars and chemovars, and that was put on the blockchain. The parent company was called Cortigen Life Sciences, and what they did was pharmacogenomics. And pharmacogenomics is basically the study of how drugs affect an individual's body and how drugs can counteract with each other. So I got really heavily involved in the human genetics space, and I had a light bulb moment one day. Said, we have human DNA here, we have plant DNA here. Let's bring those together to help guide people to a personalized experience. So we launched EndoCanna Health. By the way, they shut down the human side and they weren't interested in human genetics. So I ended up getting inheriting some really smart people, much smarter than me, some PhDs, and starting EndoCanna Health in 2017. The first 6 months, all we did was research.
See you ladies, have a good day.
We looked for every single genetic biomarker that has a direct or indirect association with your endocannabinoid system. Once we identified that, we came to a company called Illumina. Illumina is one of the top genetic companies in the world, and we asked them if they can make a custom chip for us. So when I say chip, It's what you would think is like a microchip, but it's a microchip for your genetic biomarkers. So for saliva or blood, etc. So they build us a custom chip that looks at about 700,000 genetic biomarkers that are directly or indirectly associated with the endocannabinoid system. Once we did that, we then created our kit. So this is our DNA test called EndoDNA. It is HIPAA and GDPR compliant. It comes with a buccal swab. You swab the inside of your cheek. You register. If you do not register, we will not know that information belongs to the individual because all the data is de-identified. So you have a number that's associated with you, all the information that goes into a registration system. We're an Amazon AWS shop. We have a HIPAA certificate on AWS, so we have to be compliant with that. So you register, it comes with a stuffed stamped box, and you ship that sample to our lab. It takes 2 to 4 weeks to get your results. When you log into your portal, it'll show you the sample has reached lab, it's been extracted, it's been genotyped, your results are ready. And I'll show everybody what the results look like. The second way that you can get genetic information, if somebody's already taken a DNA test, 23andMe, Ancestry.com, any other test, you don't have to swab. You can take your raw data, you can upload that, and we'll give you a report in about 30 seconds. Now, just to give you a perspective of the market, there's about 40 million people that have taken a DNA test to date. Ancestry.com was acquired by Blackstone for $4.3 billion. So just give you an assessment of what the industry looks like. So I'm going to log into the actual portal and show you what the results are. As I'm doing this, I'm also going to let you guys know that we have 8 patents in place as part of our company. So the first patent that we received is probably the most important patent that we filed in 2018. It is for the use of DNA to make recommendations associated with the endocannabinoid system presented through a graphical user interface. We actually yesterday got a approval from the PTO that our expansion of our patent has been approved and accepted. So the extension of the patent includes AI and machine learning, which we've been doing since 2018. So, and I'll show you kind of how that works as well. It's used for making predictive inferences. And like I said, I'll show everybody what it works, how it works. So this is our platform. Now, this is what a consumer sees today. This is not what a healthcare professional sees today. They have a fully integrated panel that goes directly into the electronic health record system and provides them a short treatment plan so they can follow exactly how they would do their blood work. And I can show you what that looks like as well. So in addition to that, as we shift our business model, and I'll explain what I mean by that, everything on the platform is fully white labelable or customizable. So as long as we're Intel Inside, powered by EndoCanna Health, this can be another company's logo. All these things are customizable, and I'll explain to you why that's important as we shift our business model as well. So every single person that takes a DNA test has a complimentary concierge call with a care counselor. A care counselor is not a geneticist, employee of our company, and they are not there to give any advice. They're there for 3 reasons. Number one, to make sure that everybody completes their health profile, because that's our baseline that we measure efficacy against. Number 2, we make sure that people can understand how to read the results of the report, because there are some complexities to that. And number 3, if they have a medical condition, like a disease, we can facilitate a conversation with a healthcare professional through telehealth. So when we met with the FDA, they asked us, what is the purpose of your test? We told them to help people either mitigate or prevent an adverse event. They said, excellent, that's exactly what we're going to hear. 2 things: you can't make any claims, and you can't talk about a disease. Now, if a healthcare professional, if a doctor orders this test, they can actually, say whatever they want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into what a result looks like, and I'll show you all the different categories, and I'll show you a report, and we'll go from there. So every single report, we look at symptomatic conditions, and everything is color coded. So green means there's no variant detected, so there is no genetic risk associated with that symptomatic condition. Yellow means there's a variant, that means there is a genetic risk. And red means there's multiple variants, so exponentially higher chance of that symptomatic condition to express itself. So I'm going to show you all the different categories. I'll explain where the opportunities for revenue, and then I'll end by showing you how we make money today. We have anxiety, cognitive function, general digestive reports, drug dependence. So to give you an example, I'll pause on this one for a second. Pain management specialists have been using this test to show their patients they may have a predisposition to opioid dependence and maybe look at phytocannabinoids as an alternative to that. Immune susceptibility, general metabolism, mood like major depressive feelings, musculoskeletal like joint health and flexibility, arthritis, nutrient deficiencies. Now I want to pause on this for a second too, because this is an example of the expansion of our business. Right now, we're looking at about 700,000 genetic biomarkers. We have validated whole genome sequencing. So we're moving to 64 million genetic biomarkers. Why that's important? Because we can now create reports that are individualized for different types of conditions. So and I'll show you as an example of a women's health report that we did with an OB that is looking for predispositions to perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and the side effects that maybe somebody's predisposed to with their type of menopause. So that allows us to expand our reach beyond cannabis, but still include phytocannabinoids as a possible solution or intervention for some of those conditions. So the reason why I stopped on nutrient deficiencies, this allows us to actually provide people personalized supplementation as well, like iron, et cetera, and allows people to understand when they're making lifestyle choices, if they want to go vegan, but they have a predisposition to iron level deficiencies, that's something they may want to take a closer look at. Pain, nausea, sleep, which is a huge one for us. Bruxism is grinding your teeth, by the way. THC side effects, and then vitamin reports. And the same thing goes with vitamins, as I mentioned with the nutrients as well. So I'm going to pop into a report and show you what it looks like so everybody gets a sense. I'm going to look at stress. It's a rare thing that none of us can relate to. That's why I wanted to pick that one. So every single report gives you the definition of the symptomatic condition, gives you a summary of findings. So it says overall, your endocannabinoid genotype is associated with higher stress reactivity. This can raise risk of developing an anxiety disorder, monitor for symptoms of high anxiety, practice stress reducing techniques, etc. It's going to give you a recommendation or suggestion for a ratio. I'm going to get back to that in a second because I want to talk about the science. This is where most of my passion is, that we are scientifically based. Just to throw this out, we're in the middle of 7 clinical trials. We're published from PubMed. We're in a phase 2 clinical trial with Harvard Medical, and I can go into details of what those trials are. But we take this extremely seriously on the scientific side. So we also talk about genetic predispositions over and over and over to make sure people understand that what is the difference between a genetic predisposition and an epigenetic expression, giving people, empowering them with the information that they can make lifestyle choices to mitigate those expressions. Important takeaways: this is not a diagnostic test. Nothing associated with the endocannabinoid system in the US can be used as a diagnostic test. This is for informational purposes only. The gene that we're looking at on this one is FA. So fatty acid amide hydrolase is an extremely crucial gene in the endocannabinoid system. The reason why is it actually produces enzymes that metabolize anandamide. Not to go into a whole explanation of the endocannabinoid system, make an assumption most people know a high level, but anandamide is secreted from your brain as part of the endogenous endocannabinoid. Also, when you run, you get the runner's high, and when you consume delta-9 THC, it binds to your CB1 receptors and squirts anandamide. The word ananda means bliss in Sanskrit. So the reason why this is really important is just to show you the transparency. We give you the gene, we give you the location, we give you your unique genotype. The report says you may experience more anxiety when stressed. Everything is supported by a PubMed reference or equivalent to PubMed. You can see how you can compare it to different population groups based on genealogy. So people of African descent are less likely to have this than people of East Asian descent, as an example. But you have about half of the population that has this predisposition. So why is this important? Well, to give you an example of where, how stress can work in and how your genetics can actually determine your experience with cannabis or stress in general. So I'll use this example. Let's say I'll use Crystal as an example. Let's say Crystal is walking down the street and a car comes out of nowhere, almost hits her. She has what we refer to as a fight or flight experience. So there's secretion of neurochemicals. Number one, there's some dopamine, some adrenaline, some norepinephrine, some cortisol. All that is secreted into your bloodstream. When you realize there's no lion chasing the jungle, there's two things that happen. There's a reuptake of those neurochemicals, and you have new neurochemicals secreted. One of them happens to be anandamide. So if you're breaking down more anandamide than the average person, you're not producing enough of your own, that cortisol level can stay longer in your bloodstream. And if that happens, there's a couple of things that can result from that. Number one, it can reduce your pH level, make you more acidic. Number two, you can have an overactive immune response, and what we'll feel is inflammation. So usually it starts in your joints, not the ones you smoke, but like your ankles, your knees, your hips, your elbows, etc. And if you have predispositions of gut health issues like IBD, it can move into your gut health. The good news is you can subsidize with a little bit of delta-9 THC, which will bind to that receptor and support more anandamide. The flip side of that is if you have a predisposition to stress reactivity, THC has a very narrow therapeutic window. If you take a little bit too much, you actually do the opposite. You trigger the stress reactivity, and somebody can have a pretty anxious experience. So there's an FAQ in the bottom of every single report. If you want to dive in a little bit deeper into the science, you can. The platform is making a suggestion of a 20-to-1 to 4-to-1 CBD to THC ratio. The reason why there's a range, this person did not complete their health profile. We don't know their experience with THC. Somebody like my mom would start with a 20-to-1 and maybe titrate her way down, being a novice, but 20-to-1 works well for her. In addition to that is your secret sauce, which is your terpene profile of linalool and beta-caryophyllene. Now, the reason why linalool and beta-caryophyllene are suggested is because linalool has been shown in studies to help lessen the anxiety that may be provoked by THC. Beta-caryophyllene has been shown in studies to have an affinity for the CB2 receptor, so it works really well with CBD to actually reduce the inflammation that may be caused by that overactive immune response. I'm going to skip over and go to the wellness plans and show you what that looks like. There are 5 different wellness plans for 5 different symptomatic conditions, what people use cannabis for, and where your genetics play a role. So anxiety, cognitive function, mood, pain, and sleep. Most people spend more time in the wellness plan because it's a summary. So this is a quick summary of the anxiety report. This person has 3 genetic predispositions associated with higher levels of anxiety, stress reactivity, PTSD, and slower level of fear extinction. In addition to that, they have a bunch of THC side effects, and some of them are normal to THC, like work and memory impairment and psychomotor control. But this person also has a predisposition to psychosomatic effects. This is psychosis-like effects of dissociative. I've seen that probably a handful of times in the last few years. Usually it's a perfect storm. Somebody's a poor metabolizer, takes too many edibles, triggers stress reactivity, and may have a dissociative experience. So it's something we want to mitigate in advance. In addition, this person has some sleep disturbances. So what you want to, the platform will suggest a daytime and a nighttime formulation like NyQuil and DayQuil. Just don't take your NyQuil during the day. We are the only company that looks at drug interactions. This is a very, very important area. We have a lot of people that call us that are on SSRI, so antidepressant medication, anti-anxiety medication. There is an interaction between certain phytocannabinoids and some of these medications. So we pull in over 200 different medications. You can select your medication. We'll show you if there's an interaction. You can speak to your healthcare professional, speak to one of ours. But usually what we suggest is not to consume your phytocannabinoid together with your prescription medication. Take your prescription medication and then stagger your consumption. How long you stagger for also depends on how you metabolize. This is an extremely important part of consumption of anything. It doesn't even have to do specifically with cannabinoids. It has to do with drugs or supplements that you put in your body. So there's a series of genes called cytochrome P450. Each one of them produces an enzyme that helps us metabolize something. There's a specific one for lactose. There's a specific one for gluten. So these are the specific ones for phytocannabinoids. So CYP2C9 is THC, 1,9 is CBD, and 3A4 is CBD and THC together. This is one of the reasons why a full spectrum product affects people differently than an individualized component. So the last thing I want to show you on here is, now that you know how much to take, you know your secret sauce, the next thing is where do I get the products? So where to get the products is, we have a marketplace that uses certificates of analysis from manufacturers and shows you what the percentage of matches for that product. So if it's a product that's 0.3% THC or less, we facilitate the purchase of that. Shop Now will go to their website and you can click on and buy that product. If it's a product that is 0.3% THC or higher, like one of these, it's a 1-to-1. It depends. We geolocate. So this one is connected to a delivery service, depending if they deliver in your area, in your state. That's an option to have that product delivered to your home. Full transparency, again, we manufacture some of these products on here using one of our 7 patented formulations. So some of the 0.3% hemp-derived products we manufacture from here, like this one and this one. And one last thing I want to show you on the marketplace, and then I'll show you the feedback loop mechanism, pause for questions. We have this personal shopping assistant. The personal shopping assistant allows you to get a shortcut and select products that are aligned to you based on your genetics quickly. So if you want to look at, in the report, it said this person may have some sleep challenges. So if I'm looking at sleep, the platform is suggesting a 1-to-1 to 1-to-5 with myrcene and linalool, and I can change the product and it'll change the product suggestions. And I can select categories like flower, sublingual, tablingual, etc. One last thing I want to show, when you purchase a product, and this is one of the most important things in our platform, is the feedback loop. So as you purchase a product, this is my own dashboard. You'll be invited to the dashboard. The first thing you do in your dashboard is you select your goals. Why are you consuming this product? So for me, improve sleep, reduce pain, and improve mood and reduce anxiety. As soon as I do that, I will be provided a clinically validated assessment for that symptomatic condition. So PEG-3 is what a doctor uses for pain. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level here? That's that screening tool. GAD-7 is anxiety. PHQ-9 is for mood and sleep. So as every single month, I'm given a patient-reported outcome survey, email, and SMS. In addition to that, my entire protocol is in my dashboard, so I can have my personalized vitamins, nutrients, my medical food products, my phytocannabinoids, everything can be on there. And in addition to that, we also integrate with a wearable device. So you can add your wearable here, any Fitbit, Garmin, Oura Ring, etc. And in real time, all the data comes back. This is efficacy modeling. This is my own. So from the protocol that I'm recommended, I can see that it's helping my resting heart rate. It's helping my heart rate variability. It's helping my light sleep, but it has not really helped my deep sleep that much. So next month, I either have to modify my protocol or increase dosing, etc. So I'm going to pause to see if there's questions. I know it's a lot of information. I try to do this as quickly as possible, and I can talk about sort of our ask and where we're going and our customers. I forgot, Bill, our customers, just so right now, our customers are end users, they are healthcare professionals, and they are resellers. So in Brazil, for instance, we have a partner called Quantic. They're the #3 brand in all of Brazil. They use our platform. It's fully translated into Portuguese. The test is white labeled, and we ship the products directly to the patients. In order for them to get a prescription for next month, they have to provide feedback on how that product has worked for them. So I just want to make sure I check that box. And I know Bill had a question, so I'm going to stop share for a second.
So maybe you want to take a minute and think about this. In 30 seconds, explain this to me like I'm 10.
Great.
Right?
So
Because you're using words that I can't follow. And you've used chemical compounds that I don't understand. So assume I'm 10.
Yep.
And maybe take a minute. Maybe it goes around the horn a little bit with some other people. I'm 10 years old. I got 30 seconds. What do you guys do?
yeah, we use your saliva and the DNA in your saliva to give you a personalized experience with your phytocannabinoids and anything that you put in your body.
Beautifully done, by the way.
Thank you. So here's the kicker to this. Our next phase, as I mentioned, whole genome sequencing. So 64 million SNPs. Here's how it's going to look. We're going to swab you with 2 swabs. We're going to give you your whole genome, and we're going to give you your biological age. We partnered with Stephen Horvath, and I don't know if anybody knows who that is, but he created the Clock Foundation, is the first biological test that gives you your biological age. So I'm 52, I'm 47 by my biological age. So the goal is to bring down my biological age by 7 years to 40. So I'm going to give a personalized protocol, including phytocannabinoids, supplementation, hormones, everything that's personalized to me that I'm lacking in. And I'm going to come back in 6 months. I'm going to swab you again and see if your biological age has reduced. And that's bookending the experience.
Yeah, I know Steve Horvath. I was at his bar mitzvah. I couldn't resist. So what are you looking for now?
Yeah,
What's
so
your
what
ask,
we're looking.
what are you looking for? What's your company worth? Revenue like?
So a couple of funding rounds, and I'll get to that. We launched in 2017. We bootstrapped, did a little bit of friends and family, a few $100,000. In 2019, we raised our Series A. A company called Heritage, publicly traded company in Canada, put in $2 million. We are now looking for, we're raising $5 million. Our valuation is $30 million. And Merida Capital has taken the lead in our Series B with $1 million term sheet.
And what's revenue like?
We're doing about 1.3 million.
Mm-hmm. Oh, someone DM'd me. So you're doing about 1.3 million. You're valuing at 30. Mm-hmm. The 1.3 throw off profit?
Yes.
So the 143 is profitable.
We're making profit wise. We're doing about 256, I believe. That's a profit.
I got it. So what is that, about 15%?
That's EBITDA?
Yes.
Are there any CPAs on the line?
Oh, there sure are. Weird. Funny how that happened. So I guess the question is then, what's next? You know, what's the use of proceeds here? What are we looking at as?
So the use of proceeds are a shift, and the shift is because we listen to our market, and I keep going with what Bill said. Who is your customer? We listen to our customers, and our customers want their own platform. So the shift is to a software as a service model. Our investors want recurring revenue. Recurring revenue for us comes from product sales. When you buy a DNA test, you don't need to buy another DNA test, right? So we need to figure out a way how to create recurring revenue. And that recurring revenue comes from a different platform. So I don't know if I have what time I have. I can kind of show you. But
no,
anyway.
I think we should answer the questions more than talk about than do the slideshow, because I think with people are loath to interrupt you when you're doing it.
Good point. So the idea is it's a software as a service. We do your whole genome. We give you the platform. We charge you a fee. You pick the reports that you want, and then you have recurring revenue coming in from that. So the use of funds is to build our platform, to rebuild the SaaS platform, to be able to finalize the rest of our patents that we filed for the individual tests as well, and marketing. So we have never done any market. We have a little bit over 77,000 customers, and all that came from word of mouth, speaking engagements, and we have incredible press. So that's really the use of funds.
Right. The Brazilian partner that you mentioned, do they pay you?
Yeah, of course.
So do they pay you for the use of the platform?
No, the way that it works is that's the shift in model. So we have a contract with them. They have to buy a certain amount of tests every single month, and they license the white label our products. So the way that we make revenue for them is they do about 500 kits a month. They pay us for that, and they pay us for they buy the products directly from us.
Right. Well, I like that it's international. I like that you're thinking outside our borders here.
So we're one of 5 companies in the U.S. that's permitted to ship CBD products overseas. So we're in Brazil, we're in Costa Rica, we're in the UK, we're in Australia, we are in Mexico, we're in Canada, and we just got approved for Thailand.
And is the plan to keep expanding from there and tick off more boxes?
The plan is to keep expanding from there and expand above and beyond cannabis. So it is a fully precision wellness platform. Cannabis has been a great opportunity for us, but it handcuffed us a lot. Number one, we got shadow ban on Instagram, all these other things. So by starting with symptomatic conditions like sleep, hey, did you know your genetics can affect the quality of your sleep? Now it circumvents all those different algorithms, and we can actually look at, precision wellness for people.
Perfect. And I just want to tease up, Michael, I know you have your hand up. Just want to tease the price point. So you mentioned this SaaS platform. What sort of pricing model do you have in mind?
Yeah. So currently the way the pricing works is $199 retail for the kit, $49.95 if you already have a DNA test you can upload, and then we make money off the products. The SaaS model is going to charge a $500 monthly fee, and then we have additional fees for other tests that you want to do. So if you want to do your mental health test, actually treatment-resistant depression, that ICD-10 code is covered by insurance. So if you wanted to use just that, you can just get a reimbursement test and pay us an extra fee for that.
$500 monthly to the consumer?
No, to the healthcare professionals. So our focus right now, customer, is healthcare professionals and resellers, not the consumers. The consumers can still buy the product, but that's what we're pursuing on the SaaS model.
Got it. Perfect. And Michael, sorry to jump in front of you there.
No, that's fine. I mean, first of all, just a couple comments. I think this is a really cool platform. As someone who has IBD, I have sleep disorders. I have a child who has language dysfunction, who has a bad stammer that's also brought on by her anxiety and things like that. We've gone out and we've tried to look for, what's the best route. We believe in cannabis medicine, but it's always one of these things. So we get full spectrum, get this, that, but I really appreciate the breakdown. I appreciate the citing the resources and things like that. So I guess my question is, so here in Missouri, in Kansas City, or near Kansas City, my little podunk town, we had our dispensary open, right? Well, that's why I live, I kind of live in the sticks, right? But we've got our dispensary. We've got the vape shop. We've got the weed shop, the gun shop, and Dollar General, all in one thing. It's very, very nice. If I walk in there and I'm interested in learning more, because I don't smoke, I don't partake anymore, and when I do, it puts me in the chair. Like, this is a kind of thing that I would really appreciate. So we walk into this dispensary. What's it take to get a kit on the retail shelf? I can go into Walmart and I can buy a 23andMe right off the shelf. Is that in the future of this? Because, do I have to go to the website? Is this part of the resale process? Is part of the rebrand process in the future? And then what would it take to get to your production capacity up to that point to where when you do the SaaS product, you can put actual kits on shelves?
Yeah, so we've done this already, and it wasn't a very successful venture for us. We can do it now. There are kits on shelves of dispensaries. And here's what we learned. We learned that people who go into a dispensary want instantaneous gratification. So the person that has a backache doesn't want to take a DNA test with them, take it home, wait 2 weeks, come back. They want something now. So we have it on shelves, and the only way that it worked for us before, if we do a brand partnership or a product. So basically you would buy something that has an indication to help you sleep. Inside, there's a 50% off a DNA test. So when they come back the second time, they can be focused a lot more on the product that they want. However, as we move to our SaaS model, this is something that is going to be secondary for us. If dispensaries want to participate, we can actually do something that we've already done before, where we can actually have their own kit on the shelves that we can white label for them, and we can integrate directly with their menu. So when you take the test, you can come in and see which one of their menu items that actually is in stock is more aligned with you genetically. So that's our API layers that we created in place now.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I was going to say, if you're having trouble getting rid of them on shelves right now, that's just you got a bad salesman at the desk. You know what I mean?
You're
but I
right.
can see as a SaaS product, if part of the branding product, here's also an opportunity to provide customized training for the individuals that are in the head shops, i.e. another revenue stream to certify these people in selling your product. I think would be a huge thing that you'd have to do. Another quick question, just how do you create, is this part of like the wellness intake? Like I saw things like PTSD. Is that something that's part of the wellness questionnaire, or how do you actually create a marker for PTSD predisposition?
It's great. So like I said, we're in the middle of 7 clinical trials. We're already published with Dr. Ethan Russo for something called cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. There are genes and genetic expression specifically for these conditions. So PTSD has been very well studied. There's a series of genes. Some of them are CNR1 cannabinoid receptor genes. Some of them are associated with like fatty acid amide hydrolase. So there are genes with literature on these specific conditions. So one more thing around that, there's something called, and I'm going to try to take what Bill just said to me, the 10-year-old mind, but there's something called the polygenic risk score. And the polygenic risk score is the future of how you can do medicine. And what that is, it takes that hundreds of thousands of people, thousands of different genes, and gives you an AI, gives you a score. So you, Michael, may be in the 58th percentile to have a predisposition for PTSD based on 100,000 of people that actually have this predisposition and turn that switch on. So this is all, assays that have been validated. And one of the things we build is a machine learning algorithm that looks for studies that have been conducted all over the world, pulls them in, and grades them for us. And then we have a scientific board with Dr. Ethan Russo, Dr. Mike Tagan, Dr. Chris Spooner, and myself, and we physically make a decision whether to include that study in our research or not.
Go ahead, Bill.
So let me jump in. I'm going to disagree with Michael on one thing. And, we probably disagree on a whole lot of other things. The dispensary doesn't sell. They take orders. It's up to you to stimulate demand. Or 7-Eleven is the same thing. They'll put the Coke on the shelf, but they're looking at Coca-Cola to stimulate demand. Yeah. Much of your thrust of what you've talked about today has been the product, has been the platform, has been how detailed, how robust it is. A guy like me who works in a venture fund was going to turn around and go the other way and say, how are you going to sell this? Mm-hmm. Healthcare providers, how are you going to get in the room with these people? How are you going to talk to them? Who's doing it? You need people, men and women in suits, not marketing online, hoping they buy. How are you going to get these partners in these other countries? Who's making the phone calls? Who's banging on the doors? How many people in the sales force? That's how I always think, because a good sales force can sell a secondary product. Right? Yeah,
you're 100% correct.
When all else fails, it's marketing and sales.
Yeah,
that's a little rhyme you can use.
We have not done a fantastic job on this as CEO of the company. That is definitely an area that we need to focus on. So there's 2 ways that we're going to be doing this now. We partnered with a company called PharmaCentra. PharmaCentra is, for 23 years, they've been one of the top pharmaceutical sales companies. They know every single healthcare professional in the US and outside of the US. We're partnering with them, and they're actually calling on healthcare professional groups on our behalf, selling the same way they would sell pharmaceutical drugs, our platform and products. So that's one way we're getting to the healthcare professionals. We do have partners in different countries that are resellers of ours, and they're the ones that are bringing, the Quantix and the Medican from the UK, et cetera. So, but it's definitely an area of focus for us. And the third part, I know you mentioned not online, but we partnered with an online marketing firm that did due diligence on people that have taken a previous DNA test. So one of the things we're going to be doing is doing a, upload your data that you already have, your 23 ancestry, and for $25 get a report. So we'll pull them in that way, and they've already done some market research and came back with really positive results. So that's probably part of our sales team, but we definitely need to hire some more internal people, and we'll do that with this round.
Okay,
Can
we
I
have
ask-
another question. Hold on
Oh.
1 second. Yeah, Max, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I do, thanks. Hi, Max Ibot. This is it's kind of a specific question here regarding your genetic screening and compatibility. What about folks who are on SSRIs, and specifically anhedonia, which anhedonia means inability to experience joy. And also what's coming forward is PSSD, which is sexual dysfunction caused by SSRIs, meaning people can't have orgasms. And I know like 40% of women in the United States are on SSRIs. I don't know if you were looking at studies at that, or are any of your genetic markers leading you to believe that your product is going to help those folks? So that's it. That's my question.
It's a couple of different answers to this. Number one, we are not a diagnostic tool. We cannot make any medical recommendations according to the FDA. So for informational purposes only, what we can tell you is there are specific biomarkers, specific genes, and specific epigenetic expression that shows people are treatment-resistant depression. So SSRIs are being prescribed to them, will not work for them. There's about 30% of the population, but they'll still get all the side effects from the SSRIs. The second thing that our platform can do is show you there's an interaction between a phytocannabinoid and your SSRI medication. So some of them can be inducers, some of them can be inhibitors. That's as much as we can do on our platform and show you if there's a gene for that. The actual healthcare professional has to do it has to interact with you in order to look at our data and then make a decision on your own personalized health and wellness.
Great, thank you.
Len, did you talk about your team at all? I may have missed that. I came in a little bit late.
I did not talk about our team, but that's a good question. So I'm the CEO. I have my business partner, Eric Kaufman, is the COO/CIO. He comes from tech. He built the first Apple compatible computer and has his claim to fame. He's got sued by Steve Jobs. So he's been in the tech space for over 30 years. Our CTO is TJ Donato. He is the West Point graduate, lieutenant, and we run a team that's on-site offshore. Our development is done here in the U.S. and in Florida. And also he's our CTO, and then offshore in India as well. And we have a fractional CFO. We're in the market to find a CFO, and we did recently separate from our CMO, and our CMO, Cindy, came from Ogilvy. I felt she did a fantastic job on our branding, but she did not, meet what we feel is the marketing requirements for that. So that's the next market. We have 10 employees right now, and then we use some contractors as well. And then we have a very good scientific board. So Dr. Ethan Russo, as I mentioned before, Tim Leslie is on our board, sits as an advisor. He was the CEO of Leafly, and prior to that, he built Amazon Prime International. We have Dr. Jennifer Berman, who's one of the top female health specialists in the country, sexual health specialists in the country, and and also Clint Sharples, who is the chairman of Heritage in Canada.
How are we doing on time, Crystal?
We're doing pretty good. I would like to know about partnerships that you are looking to create or meet. What's your ideal partnership?
So we have two partners. Number one is a reseller, somebody who is interested in expanding this platform into, their country or state. So as I mentioned, Quantic is a perfect example of a partner. In Brazil, they white label our platform. They have physicians they work with. The way that works in Brazil, for those of you who don't know, a healthcare professional needs to write a prescription. Then they use our test. Then from there, we actually ship products directly to the patients from the US. We're one of the only companies permitted to do that. And in order for them to get a prescription for next month, they have to provide feedback. So one of the ultimate goals of our company, quote unquote, exit, is to build the world's largest observational study on efficacy. And that's what we're doing, using machine learning for that as well. So that's one partner that we would like. And also we have partnered with a couple of medical card companies like CannaCare Docs. It's been a really good partnership for us, because when somebody gets a cannabis card, we give them a bundle deal, 50% off a DNA test when you buy when you get a card. So now that you recommended cannabis, you can use us to find out what to take, how much to take, and where to get it. And that's been a successful partnership for us as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for answering that. Zach, I know you have to take off in 4 minutes. Are there any follow-up questions or anything that you would like to Len to answer?
Well, I think you've hit on the corporate structure a little bit. Are there any areas of operational efficiency? And I think, Crystal, maybe where you were going with this, asking about partners as well. Are there any strategic partnerships that maybe you haven't found or you hadn't previously thought about, or any new tentacles that you could imagine throwing out into the market?
Right now, it's scale. I mean, this is our biggest. So we've invested everything into tech in our platform. We invested as much as we possibly could in IP. Now it's time to scale. So our partners and our resellers, these are the ones that we want to talk to today to see what we can do with our platform to scale this internationally and also within the US. So those partners can be, like I said, resellers. They can be healthcare professionals. They can be people that are in the cannabis space. Like, if you have an MSO and the MSO wants to, and we were in conversations with many MSOs, they want to use this platform to actually guide people to their own dispensaries and integrate with their own products on the shelf. We can get, not only can they actually get, my goal is to make sure that everybody gets the right product for themselves. Not only can they get the right products, but they can also get that feedback going and save money and be more efficient on their end in their cultivations, in their product creation, development, and in their sales cycle, because they'll have a better understanding what works for more people. So those are ideal, partnerships for us to scale with.
And what type of investors are you looking for at this point? Is there a particular
ones with money?
I know everyone says that.
They don't have any in the cannabis space. I don't know. So we're going outside of the cannabis space. Look, here's my ideal investor. We've had investors that had made promises to us that are going to work with us, not only give us money, but help us because they have a network. It did not materialize yet. So ideally, it would be great to have an investor that also participates and helps us scale our business, not just money. There is money around. We can get money from different sources, but I really want to be diligent on making sure that this investor is strategic. This is really, really important for us, understands our vision, aligns with our vision, participates on our board, and actually helps us make some of those decisions. I know it's a big ask, but I think it'll be worthwhile for both sides to be able to have that kind of relationship.
What percent of your new raised dollars and operating budget is set aside for marketing?
Raised dollars, very little. We set aside 10%, and we didn't do a great job. Now going forward, we have about 30% of that budget set aside for marketing on our new raise.
So as a CMO, I would go backwards and say, how much does it cost us to make a sale? How much does it cost us to get a healthcare provider? How many do we need? There's two ways to make a budget. What do you want? I'll tell you what it costs. And what do you got? I'll tell you what you can have. You buy a car that way too. So I would work backwards on the budget and say, okay, we know it costs us $1,000 to get a healthcare provider, or $500. Give you an example, Pfizer. Ever hear of them? All over TV, reps everywhere. It costs them $900 to get in front of a doctor. $900. That's all their advertising, marketing, sales costs combined. So you want to do some of that working backwards a little bit. And I would stay away from universities at all costs. Most of your credentialed physicians are coming from universities and a university level, but that's brackish water, right? I mean, where those two meet, where business and universities meet. And we could talk more about this when we go offline.
Yeah, I'll be happy to. We have a data room, and I have those projections. And Bill, you're 100% on point. We actually went really deep into what a sale costs us. So that's exactly an area of focus for marketing. So be able
on that tip, you said earlier that a lot of your revenue comes from recurring business, and are you seeing that improve over time or stagger? Or, are you relying a lot on that recurring revenue business? Is it improving? Is it becoming more efficient? Or are you finding yourself having to continue to shop for new customers?
Yeah, so our recurring business comes from product sales, and it definitely is flatlining a little bit. And that's one of the reasons why we're moving to the SaaS model, because we need to find another source of recurring revenue. So when you get a DNA test, you have it once, but what we discovered is once people share their DNA, you create a customer stickiness, and you create this relationship with your customer that goes into the platform, finds a product to help them sleep, come back to the platform to find a product that's going to help their knee with the swelling. So they keep coming back, and we're getting recurring revenue from the sales of products, but we're not getting recurring revenue from our platform. So this is the way that we're making that shift to make sure that we have that recurring revenue coming from a platform as well.
Okay, so we are going to wrap up. Lynn, is there anything that you would like to close with? And please tell everyone where they can connect with you.
Yeah, I'm super grateful for this opportunity. I'm extremely passionate about precision wellness. If you can't tell, we have patents. We are a very unique company that actually just needs an infusion of capital to scale. And really, it's hard when you're the first in a certain space. So sometimes you're an island, but it made it easier for us to, I guess, get patents because, other people weren't really competing with us at that time. Where to get in touch with me? Len, L-E-N, at EndoDNA.com. I'm Len May in all the social platforms. Len May DNA, I think, on Instagram, if anybody wants to get in touch. So please reach out. I'm very good at responding. And once again, I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Len. If you wouldn't mind passing the host keys back to me so I can end in just a second after